There's no point twos this time. Episode 16, I think. I'm genuinely losing track of A View from the Hazards. Can't forget our roots. Can't forget the days when we used to have a hazard joke at the start of every podcast, but those days are long gone. Ben's here, and Ben is going to the tip after this. He's got a busy day.
A busy day.
Yeah, for you, a busy day.
Indeed. How are you, Shanks?
I'm good, mate. I've had a sick week actually. Haven't I haven't really done much like sort of inside stuff. Been outside playing tennis, going for walks. Bought a meal deal the other day for the first time in about 2 months.
Mate, wow, that.
I know.
What a day.
Yeah, genuinely. I actually as well. You know how much I love free stuff. So my mate who I played tennis with yesterday, he's given me an All Saints top, a Ralph long sleeved, and a pair of jeans, all of which didn't fit him anymore. So I am laughing.
You are the proud owner of some yet more hand-me-downs.
Yeah, some second-hand gear, but at the same time, when you look good in it, doesn't really matter.
You didn't have to pay for it either. That's not even like a cheap charity shop purchase. That is just a complete freebie.
All I had to do was just drive to the Wirral. That was it.
All I had to do was turn up.
Yeah, literally. Laughing. So why do you need to go to the tip today? Why does it have to be today?
You have to book slots.
Oh yeah, that one,
so
that old chestnut.
You can't just turn up. So
fair.
Booked like it's a 15-minute slot. So it's literally like don't turn up more than 10 minutes before your time and get the hell out of there.
It won't.
In 15 minutes basically.
It won't take you 15 minutes to throw some stuff into a skip.
No, exactly. It'll take 5 minutes once we're there. But,
you're used to that as a farmer from Dorset.
Throwing stuff into the skip, normally throwing stuff into the combine.
Oh yeah, that's true. Harvest it, whatever it's called. But yeah, big week this week, isn't it? I guess with Reelers, a bit of an announcement because obviously elite athletes are allowed to play, but Reelers athletes are not. And that's probably going to form the basis of our podcast. But was anything else happened with Reelers this week?
I don't think so. I mean, like it's still just the indoor nature of the sport, isn't it? So,
yeah, I know.
Squash and gyms and all that stuff, like you're still not allowed to do anything. So
I saw some stuff that gyms might open in July, and I think they will. To be honest,
I do find it quite strange that like people are allowed to like practice stuff like in close quarters, like with contact.
Yeah, it's weird.
So, okay, like forget the fact that football has like so much money that they can just get tested constantly and stuff like that.
That is so cool, though. Yeah.
Why are like 10 individuals allowed to like have a kickabout and like have full contact tackling and all that kind of stuff, and yet 2 people can't stand 80 foot away from each other on a reelers court and not get anywhere near each other? Do you know what I mean?
I'll tell you what.
Seems so weird.
I'll tell you what, mate. Some of us get around the court, so you end up a bit closer together. But yeah. I take your point. I was actually. So I was driving through Manchester yesterday, and I saw one of the parks, mate. It's not even a question of like what's allowed anymore. I think it's just more what people want to do. And oh my god, the park was absolutely packed. It was like a festival.
So the funny thing is, like now, is like you're allowed to meet up with 6 people or whatever it is.
That's shit for me because I don't even have 6 mates.
That's just no change. Everyone's like,
yeah,
I've been doing that for weeks anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
the park at the bottom of the hill from the club here is just rammed all day, every day. Like literally, when it gets like the evening, it's like there's like this festival going on.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like that's what I saw yesterday. I was just like, mate, this is mental.
Everybody's just walking. There's a corner shop just up the hill, and that place and like your favourite place, the Co-op, must be raking it in because literally people are just like nipping into these places, getting like a 24 pack and just sitting in the park all day, getting hammered.
What, of custard creams?
Yeah, they're buying biscuits.
Yeah, buying biscuits to the park. Fair. That's nice and innocent. But no, they will. Yeah, obviously, like that's the thing. Like they need to just open more like basic coffee shops and stuff because the demand's there because people have got nothing to do, nothing to spend.
Non-essential places are allowed to open like as of next week.
I know. Yeah, I just want charity shops to open up again. I mean, there'll be plenty of gear knocking around.
I mean, I would say that they're essential. You're trying to give money to charity.
Yeah, exactly.
They're more essential than like some places.
I protect the environment. Well, maybe unintentionally. Secondary. But all this chat. We're not going to talk about COVID because we're not scientists, and I won't even pretend to be a scientist. We're going to talk about, so obviously elite athletes are allowed to start playing under these new guidelines, but again, not going to talk about that. I mean, Ben, so there's been a bit of a debate this week, hasn't there? What is an elite athlete in terms of reelers, which is our sport?
Well, I think what you've got to do, like when it comes to what like I was trying to find before I got on to, like before we started this was you want to find like what is a recognised tiered like ranking system. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Does that
that's
make
true.
sense?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
as in, if you turn around, all right. So let's say like the top of the tier is the GOAT, right?
What, Camden?
And then yeah, and then the second tier, I don't know. So for example, here's my question to you:
Go on.
if somebody said you were elite or somebody said you were world class, which do you think is better?
We had this debate. I remember we were talking about world class ages ago, like in the changing room. But what would I think is better personally? I prefer to be world class.
So that's what I mean. So for example, like what we need to do before we start chucking people into these categories is determine which categories go where. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Because like for me personally, like I think that a lot of people can be world class, but like elite to me sounds like it's like you're very close to the pinnacle. Do you know what I mean?
Elite's a bigger category for me.
Yeah, so already we've got like a differing view on that.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is figure out what's better. So we're saying world class is better, are we? Which I'm happy, which is fine.
Yeah, mate. Fuck, like you talk about like world player of the year for football. Like he's a world class player. Like is Hazard world class? Like I mean, yeah, you want to be in that conversation.
See, I think to myself, I think that's what football's done to us. But I think, for me, world class is somebody who is one of who excels on a world stage, right?
Yeah, good.
Lots of footballers excel on a world stage, and yet they still it's like the debate about is Harry Kane world class?
Yes,
like,
definitely.
Well, yes, he does it on a world stage. So what? But they're like, oh no, but he's not Ronaldo or Messi league. It's like,
mate,
so
they're too good.
That doesn't matter. So what are they then? So if Harry Kane is not in their league and he's world class, what are they?
Well, yeah, exactly. It's just like, well, they're tier 2, aren't they, or something like that.
Right. So are they elite, or is that lower down the list?
I'm gonna get a dictionary definition here. Right, elite.
So I think to myself personally, like elite is if you're world class. For me, that says you perform on a world stage. That is quite a generic.
So a world
group, whereas elite, I don't think is very specific to like geography or anything. It's just like if you are in, anyone can get into that category if they're good enough.
So world class definition, right, is someone who is one of the best that there are of that type in the world. So yeah, okay. you're in that world group. You perform on a world stage. An elite is a select group that is superior in terms of ability or qualities to the rest of a group or society, and that is like a bigger group, isn't it?
On that basis, then
elite is a bigger group.
Yeah, so world class is better than being elite.
I agree.
Based on those definitions.
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, definitely because elite, elite's. Oh yeah, he's in the elite group, and like elite could be 50 people, but it's not.
Yeah, exactly. That's always been my bugbear with world class. Is like people. Oh no, you can't. Messi and Ronaldo are world class, but no one else is. Like, well, why can't more than 2 people be world class?
Well, they can. I mean, in reality, they are for sure.
But I mean, the conversation is always like, because what people are saying is, if you deem Harry Kane to be world class, then he's at the same level as Messi and Ronaldo, and that's why people are like, oh, is he world class? It's like, Jesus Christ, the guy banged them in for fun. Like, let's just leave him alone. Do you know what I mean?
I know. I saw a photo of him actually yesterday. He's looking pretty fat, to be fair. He's had a good He's had a good lockdown.
He looks like such a goon. It's unbelievable.
I know. Yeah, good player though.
It's just a very good player, but just like God, just the personality of a teabag.
Right. Well, can we put the top 10 real tennis players in the world according to the world rankings in the elite group?
Well, yeah, of course we make.
Okay, well that's 10 names in there. How big are we making this elite group, Ben?
Well, of course the top 10 are elite because there's a higher level than that. So who's world class then?
I can't even answer this question.
I mean,
because like you've got it's world class right now, isn't it? Obviously, because
All right. So here's something then. If you have, for me, if you need to separate people, and so okay, so we're lucky in real tennis because we have a ranking system, right?
yes,
You do not have a football ranking system, not officially. You
no,
have opinions.
that's
And you
why it's
have,
such a
like,
good game. Yeah, it's opinions.
stats and all that kind of stuff, but you can't use like FIFA ratings as like official system.
Yeah, that's ideal.
So we are very lucky in real tennis that we can physically say, like, right, Ben Taylor Matthews, you are the fourth best player in the world. Now, some people might go, oh, yeah, but number 6 would beat you, or number 8 could beat you, and be like, yeah, that's fine. But over the last 3 years, I've averaged enough points to put me in fourth spot, right?
That's true, actually. Yeah, you can't argue with that.
So that's a fact. Yes, number 16 could beat me on their day or whatever, and I could beat number 1 or 2 on my day or whatever, but, like, the fact is, over a 3-year period, which is how rankings are taken, that is your number, that's your spot. If you don't like it, be better, right? Do better.
Correct.
So, obviously, everybody in the top 10 is world class. Obviously.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, how do you determine elite?
Yeah,
now,
that's
I
what I'm
would
asking
say,
you.
sorry, they're all elite. So, how would you say that? How would you differ and say that they're world class? So, there's a very easy system here for me. You could argue to make it black and white. If you've won majors or a certain number of majors, that puts you in a category.
Okay.
So, for example, you cannot sit here. So, Rob Fay ranked number 2, I'm ranked number 4, right? Now, you cannot sit here and put the two of us in the same category. The guy's won 51 open singles titles.
I can put you in the same category, Ben. Well, like you're the same similar sort of level boozers.
Okay, all right. So let's fast forward 20 years and assume and I still none of us win any more opens.
They say that
from now.
Yeah.
Right. Am I going to be remembered as a world class player? No.
Yes, by me.
Well, by you, and that's all that matters to me. But
yeah, good.
No. Whereas Rob Fay, yes. So it's very easy. You turn around and you say, right, in order to get from elite to world class, Rob Fay is world class. Why? Well, because he's got like titles coming out of his arse.
I think you can almost like justify that in that you look at the guys from the 90s who maybe won like an Open or good, like people would probably put Snowy in a category higher than a lot of people like Bray and Gooding. Let's say Snow would be world class ahead of them. I think he's probably held in higher esteem.
Well, yeah, because of their like era, right? So you could also turn around and say, okay, like he still competes and his ranking is lower than it has been, but like Bryn has won majors.
Yeah, Bryn's sick. Yeah.
So and obviously like Tim Chisholm, bit different because Tim is obviously like getting older and like, has been injured, which is why his ranking has dropped.
Yeah.
Bryn could still do it, but just doesn't compete as much. So I think those two are like slightly different. But yeah, you would obviously say Tim is a world class player, whereas I think you can easily turn around and say about like people like me and Nick and John and Kieran, like they're elite.
I know.
Won that major. Do you know what I mean?
I notice how you've not mentioned Chappers there.
Well, see, like Chappers, Bryn. So that's why I think if you quantify. So what you could say, for example, is if you haven't won any majors, you are elite.
Yeah.
Not everybody. I mean, like, Tony Lawton is not an elite real tennis player.
Mate, no, elite boozer. Mate, Nick Wood never won a major, but he was so sick.
Yeah.
So Nick Wood was a world class player in my opinion.
So if you turn around and say the definition of you'd quantify it. So you'd say, right, Ben Taylor Matthews, you are elite, but you're not higher than that because you haven't won a major.
I think that's
unfair. You turn around and say, right, Rob Fay is world class because he's won 51 or 2 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Camden is world class because he's won 20 something. Now, is there a gap in the middle for a Bryn, a Chappers, who have won like 2? Is there a gap, or as soon as you win 1, do you become world class? Do you know what I mean? Do you have to? Is there a gap between elite and world class?
I don't think it should be as simple as you just have to win a major to be world class because I mean, I think world class should be a group of about 6 people or 7 people who are just there or thereabouts. And in my opinion, someone like yourself, Chappers Nick, is always there or thereabouts in a major. You're always like a consistent finisher, like whether it's
Well,
obviously
if
a
you
guaranteed quarter, it's a
separate your
semi.
okay, so let's like take lawn tennis as an example.
Yeah.
You had, not anymore unfortunately because of like injuries and stuff, you had the big four, right?
Yeah, you did.
So those four were, generally speaking, head and shoulders above other people, right?
Oh mate, yeah, there was no one else in that top 10 who was touching
So
them.
number 5, well done. You are you're an elite, like
Yeah.
a very, very good player.
David
Right?
Ferrer.
Imagine remember when before Djokovic started actually winning stuff, he was number 3 and he would beat everybody else in the world. He just wouldn't beat Nadal or Federer. And I know he's got a good record against them, but he'd never beat them when it matters. And I'm gonna use like I'm going to use that in like real tennis. And the thing is, I think you can turn around. So you look at like Rafa Nadal, right?
Yeah.
How many tournaments does he just swerve and stuff like that? And like Federer, when they just get knocked out a bit early and blah blah blah. But they'll always peak at the majors
Well, yeah.
because that's what it's all about, right?
No one's that asked about the Shanghai Masters, really.
So if I turn up and get tucked up by somebody in National League, who I, on paper, let's say, shouldn't lose to, well done them, and it's great for them. I don't care.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If I beat them in the British Open and make it to a semi or whatever, and I'm like, right, I'm consistently proving myself to be one of the top 4 in the major tournaments, I don't care about the odd National League loss.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I think world class should be. It should be like a group of 5 or 6 who were just there, just like there or thereabouts.
Who, when it really boils down to it, and they are in like a major tournament, are they going to like have a shock loss? And the answer is, generally speaking, no. Right?
Well, yeah, maybe that's what we should go with regard to world class.
Well, we also have a very lucky system in real tennis that not only do we have a ranking system, but the World Championship takes 4 players.
If you're in that, yeah.
If you've made it into one of the 4 qualifying spots for the World Championships, you have proved over the last 2 years that you're one of the 4 best players in the world.
Yeah, that's like you can't debate that. You can't say everyone who was in the World Championship series this year is not a world class player because you're in like that's the pinnacle really.
Yeah, and I remember like I got kind of done over by the weird algorithms, like two races in a row, and I remember like not the one just gone, the one before that, where like Bryn really didn't compete very much, and then made a final of the British Open and managed to overtake me. Right?
Yeah, that was right.
He played like 3 events or something in 2 years, and I played like 13 or something. And maybe the one before that, I think Bryn got in on some weird technicality as well, but chose not to play. And I had people kind of saying to me, like, "Oh, do you think that you should be allowed to play because Bryn's not or anything, or are you like bitter about the maths or whatever?" And I was like, "Well, the maths doesn't seem to make sense." However, I've had 2 years, like 14 opportunities, because I think there's 7 ranking events a year, or world race events a year, or whatever. I've had 14 opportunities to get in, same as everybody else. If you finish 5th, it sucks.
Yeah.
But it's not like you have a one-off tournament and you go the 4 people that get through to the semis are going to qualify for the World Championships.
The second one, though, you are referring to was like a joke. That was a joke. I remember being at uni and being like, obviously, Bryn got to the final, and it was basically if you hadn't played in the Open, you'd have got in.
Well, yeah, the maths has changed, thank God, because that was ridiculous. But yeah, if I hadn't played in the British Open, then the number of points available for that tournament would have been lower because one of the top 10 players wasn't there, and therefore I would have qualified regardless of how Bryn did. Now, that's not a system that works, clearly, and it got changed, so that's fine. You shouldn't be rewarded for not playing. That's ridiculous. So that's why it's all changed, and that's all very positive. But, it's the same thing, and, it sucks. I remember in the British Open last year, last tournament of the race, it was like that last spot. Nick Howe had it, and John Lumley wanted it. And I think Nick needed to lose in the last 16, all the quarters at best. And if he lost in the quarters, Lummers had to win the tournament or something.
Yeah.
And I played Lummers in the quarters and won. And it's horrible, having to go up and shake his hand at the end of the match because I know exactly what he's thinking.
Yeah.
Having had it to me for the last 2 World Championship circulations, you're you're not thinking like, oh my god, I've lost this match. I'm now out of the British Open. How annoying! You're thinking, you're thinking from the moment you've lost that last point. That's fucking 2 more fucking years now before I can have another go.
Yeah, that's true. I'm trying to think
That's
of
that's the one thought you're thinking as you walk to the net. And it's horrible having to shake his hand and stuff. And like, I did actually say to my mate, I've been where you are, and it's not nice, and I'm sorry. But ultimately, in that situation, not having a poke at John at all, it's not his fault. You've only got yourself to blame. That's a horrible thing to say, but you've looked back and you can't pin it down on that British Open where you needed to do something. Do you know what I mean? You can look back and go, well, I had 14 tournaments to try and get in.
Yeah.
Therefore, the top 4 people that get in always deserve to be there. Which is why, in my opinion, God, if we move on to like something a bit more political, the way race is at the moment, there's only been 2 tournaments in this race, and tournaments are getting cancelled left, right, and centre. Right?
They should just bin it. I'm sorry, 2 tournaments. You just bin it and then do another full set of 14.
Because you've still got 2021 that could happen as a full season, and then you've got like lots of tournaments and lots of data. So if the world race stopped right now, and I don't even know who the top 4 are, so this is good because there's no judgment on anyone personally, and I don't want to know before I say this, and you do know.
I don't even know.
The top 4 would not be the best 4.
No.
They just wouldn't, because you cannot determine after 2 tournaments who the best 4 are. You can have your day in the sun and have a really big win, but the reason the race is how it is for the 2 years or whatever is, you've got to prove it again and again and again, and that's how you stay there. So, okay, so I'll tell you who Kieran would be in the top 4. Must be.
Yeah, he would. Yeah, he would.
Must be.
He is.
So Kieran has proved himself over the last 10 years to be the probably 6th, 7th, 8th best player in the world, based purely on like data.
Yeah.
So is he suddenly top 4 because he's had a really good tournament? And
No.
I'm not, and actually, our first podcast, we were sat there.
We talked about him, didn't we? We talked about him.
Yeah, and we said what an unbelievable tournament he's had, and I couldn't wish it upon like anybody else who just spends his whole time like working full time and then travelling around the world to play. Like, hats off to the guy.
To be fair, I've just had a look actually at the world race, and that could change.
You cannot after 2 tournaments say that those 4 would be the 4 at the end. And I'm not saying they won't be. I'm just saying there's not enough data to determine that. Because, like, for example, because of the way the dates worked out and stuff, I didn't even play the US Open, the Australian Open.
Yeah.
Camden didn't play the Australian Open.
Yeah, it's weird.
So you've lost 2 of the top 4. Rob Fay didn't play the Australian Open.
Hang on,
so
Rob Fay's not even in the world race points, which is weird.
He hasn't played any tournaments.
Yeah.
Hasn't played the 2 tournaments. So you've got the world champion has not played 2 of the tournaments. Therefore, he's not in. Well, he wouldn't need to be because he's the world champion. But
yeah.
Therefore, what more evidence do you need that 4 are not necessarily the best one? The more data, the better, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
What's elite? This is the big one. What's elite? We're just getting distracted, but it's all right. It's okay.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because
we've decided to use world class. We can go with like the world race points. If you're in the top 5, you're world class.
So if you're the world champion or you're one of the top 4, you're world class.
I think you're a world class player. Yeah.
So does that extend down a bit? Let's assume.
Then maybe it gets opinion. Then maybe it gets opinion based. Ooh,
so
murky.
let's say, for example, in the last race, let's say that the person who just missed out was not John Lumley. Let's say it was Bryn Sayers, who has 1 majors, or Tim Chisholm, who has 1 majors.
Yeah.
Do they drop out of the world class category because they haven't qualified, or do you then say no, they're still? Do you know what I mean?
I don't think you're. I think once you've been world class, you don't stop being world class.
Yeah, well, I mean, you obviously do, because at some point.
Well, yeah, you do
world class.
You do ability wise.
You don't like move up and down the categories based on like the odds.
Yeah.
On performance.
Fucking hell, he's world class now.
So, Ronaldo's had a bad game. Well, wouldn't happen actually. So that's not really a fair.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's the measure, isn't it?
Yeah.
Messi and Ronaldo don't have bad games.
I guess not, but
they don't have bad games.
Yeah.
like I have bad real tennis matches.
Yeah. We're only human.
So there we go.
But yeah, I think the world class thing, like you stay world class for a while, maybe.
It's also much easier to determine, I think, or to like argue a case for a footballer to be world class and stay in that category because they're not competing one-on-one against somebody.
Yeah, they've always got like teammates and stuff.
It's not a question of winning or losing. You know what I mean? If I play Chris Chapman and he beats me, Chris Chapman wins and I lose. That is a direct like win-loss.
I mean, yeah, with David Luiz, he's probably one of the most decorated footballers in the history of the game.
Yeah, and he's horrific.
He's not horrific. He's a winner. He'll be remembered as a winner, but not as a great footballer. He's not a great footballer. He just seems to be in winning teams a lot of the time.
Yeah, Pepe, thug.
Phil Neal, if we're going back in generations, is the fourth most decorated British footballer of all time. Won 4 Champions Leagues.
Phil Neal.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but he was in one of the greatest teams of all time.
Exactly, yeah, but is he world class? No, but he won a lot.
Well, yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because is he world class? And you kind of go no, but then why not? You're in if you're good enough. Everyone has a poke at like Jordan Henderson. If you're good enough to get into that 11 week in week out, you must be doing something right.
I don't think people are having a pop at him anymore.
Well, no, they're not. But you know, everybody needs someone to do that. Like, okay, if you look at like the Liverpool midfield three, are any of them world class?
No,
like players. Man for man. If you look at like the midfield of Liverpool, man for man against a lot of you'd put them like 8th, 9th best in the league.
Yeah, everything else is quite good though.
Literally names on paper, but do you know what I mean? They're not there to do the flair and all that kind of. They're not there to be world class. They're literally just there to be workaholics and let the front three do their job.
Matthews, be careful here. It's not football. It's not the Football Daily.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah,
That's like so. But they're still in that team and they're about to win the league.
Yeah.
But
mate, we need to. Yeah, sorry. It's a good stat that one.
Well, we need to. Okay,
we need to work out who's elite, mate, for this fucking COVID.
Further down the list, then. So we mentioned top 10. Yeah. So at what point? And this probably isn't a ranking thing. This is probably more of a handicap thing. Ooh. What's the level below elite?
You said once on a podcast something like your second tier, you're not quite top tier to me. And I think that's right. Yeah, tier 2. And I think that's tier 2 is right. But I think if you're tier 2, you're still an elite player. If you're category 1, that's quantifiable.
You're elite in the grand scheme of things in the sport. Right.
Maybe not on rankings, but like.
Well, as in the grand scheme of things in the sport, if you're the world number 25, you're an elite player.
Yeah.
Right? But you're not putting a scratch in any of the top
10. Wait, sorry, what? Say that again. You're not putting a scratch.
So if you're 25 in the world.
Yeah.
Then, in terms of the sport, you're an elite player.
Yeah.
You have to be, right? You're 25th in the world.
Yeah.
But because of the like discrepancy in like depth in our sport, if you're 25th in the world, you might very well be elite. But if somebody determined me, let's say, to be elite, not world class, I'd be like, so who's 25?
Yeah. Sorry, I understand what you mean now.
Let's say somebody off 6. I'd be like, you're saying I'm in the same boat as them.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. It's just impossible. You can't.
I'm going to be disappointed if I lose like more than 3 games to them.
Yeah, true. 3 points.
Do you know what I mean? And that sounds really rude, but like that's just the fact. It's the same thing with like squash. The world number 30 cannot beat the world number 20. They just can't do it. It just can't happen.
Unless one of them's injured.
So let's take the list down. So the reason I say tier 2, and that sounds harsh, is because nobody in that tier I determine as being able to put a dent in any of the top guys. And I think what we're basically saying is here, without blowing my own trumpet whatsoever, I think people underestimate how fucking good the top 6 or 7 players are compared to everybody else. The jump is insane.
Yeah, obviously it's ridiculous. I understand the jump. It's
like massive. It is insane. And people are like, well, you know, he plays off like. So if you've got a 55 handicap playing against a 50, right? Because of the volatility of that level of play, the 55 could have a good day and beat the 50. It could happen.
Yeah.
If you put a scratch up against a +5, never happening.
Yeah, I agree.
Literally never happening.
So how big's this elite group then?
All right. If you take All right, so if you take Rob Fay's the world champion, so he's out, and you take Camden, who basically can't lose the match,
Yeah.
he's out. If you look at the rest of us, and you go down that ranking list, at what point, who do you get to before you go, right, there's now a drop to the next guy? And I'm not asking names, I'm not after names, but do you know what I mean? You can't just keep going down the list. So let's say you had me, so I'm not offending anyone. Let's say you've got me, and let's say the person underneath me was 5 handicap points worse than me. You would go, right, that is the line where number 5 in the world is not elite. Yeah, because that gap's too big. That number 5 is not beating that number 4 or making a dent on that top group, right?
Yeah, that's a good way of thinking about it.
So it doesn't matter what number they are in the world. As soon as you look at one name in the ranking system and then you drop down to the next one and you go, hang on a minute, that's a gap. That is where you draw your line, and that's where tier 2 comes in.
Yeah.
For me, so that person you look at and you go, yeah, they're not making a dent on Chappers, Ben, Nick, Lummers. You know, I'm not going to start throwing names out there because it's just rude. But
yeah,
and I don't actually have any to mind. But that's where you start to go, all right, if they can't make a dent into those top guys, then they're tier 2, right? Which is why I always refer to the 0 to 9s as like the tier 2 event.
That's true. It's a big event, though.
Sounds rude. It's a great event. It's absolutely fantastic.
No. I say it's big in terms of the draw. Like, obviously, not everyone is a 0 to 9 player. Like, they sort of fill the draw out. If you see what I mean. So it's a bit of a dubious event.
Yeah, but it's a fantastic tournament. And
yeah,
so
we can all beat each other.
The reason it's a fantastic tournament is because it's the same thing as like the satellite events. It takes the top guys away and gives everybody else a chance to like have a tournament. And that is why it's tier 2. Because it's a good event because the top guys aren't there.
Yeah. You don't want to.
That's why it's a good event.
Winning's fun.
And it's good to like have those kind of events and not give other people a chance. It sounds like fucking charity, but you know, it's good. It's good to get people like into that winning mentality and stuff. And the fact is, you don't want to be in that for years and years. I'm frequently having a like friendly poke at Darren. He's I've won like 3 0 to 9s, and I'm like, well done. That just proves you're not getting better.
Oh well.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
well,
I know.
I mean, he's a mate, so. I'm
so
allowed to do that.
Is what you're saying 0 to 9s? So let's say people between 0 and 9 aren't elite players.
They're elite in terms of the sport of real tennis.
But they're not in terms of actually like, are you top whatever.
But I don't think you can, and I'll use me or Nick Howe because neither of us have won any majors, or John Lumley. You can't compare someone in the 0 to 9s to one of us 3.
No, you can't, unfortunately.
So therefore, it needs to be a different group. It's like you can't say semi-elite because that's just horrible.
Yeah.
So it depends. You know what I mean? It depends what you're referring it to. If you're saying, is somebody off? So Robert Shankman, are you elite? I would say
in my mind, yeah.
If you're asking me, are you elite? For like the sport as a whole, the answer is obviously yes. Are you elite in the like amateur game? Absolutely yes. Are you elite in like if you just take the top 25 only, you then have to start going, well, no. Do you know what I mean? So it depends it depends what your like what your demographic is, doesn't it?
On handicap, I'm the 17th best.
And yet you don't have any ranking points.
Well, yeah, that's not my fault. Just been busy. No,
it's not my fault.
Not my fault, Ben.
Is that what you're going to say when you finish 5th in the World Championship race? It was not my fault.
No,
you had 14 chances to get in, yeah, but it's not my fault.
I was busy, mate. I was busy. Yeah, I see what.
So second tier is not a very nice way to put it. So what's the next? So
I don't care.
You've got the world class, you've got elite. What's next? What's the next
Oh God, journeyman.
Journeyman.
Oh God, it's
Chris
bad.
Waddle.
Nah, he was good.
Yeah, still a journeyman because he played.
Oh, he played
Probably
in a few
better.
places, but I wouldn't say he was bad in any of those places. Right.
No, see, I see journeyman as someone who just bounces around from club to club just to prolong their career, whether he should really throw the towel in.
I don't know. I think you can still be a good journeyman if you play at a lot of places and you're good. Right. Well, what is the next tier? Maybe it's like, oh wow, what would you say? Your tour players, your tour men. Yeah, I'm on the
It just
tour.
doesn't sound. But do you know what I mean? That just doesn't sound. That's not doing it justice.
I don't know, like yeah, the whipping boys.
You can't turn around and say, yeah, because then again, if you relate it and go, all right, well, how do you rank the 0 to 9 guys compared to the 10 to 19 guys? You go, well, they're elite.
Yeah.
Of course they are, because a 15 is not putting a dent on a 5.
No, I agree.
Just the way it is.
Well, that's 35 minutes of that. To be fair, I don't even think we've got an answer, which I can see why the TNRA probably had some issues defining elite because obviously.
Right, I want a name, Shanks.
Go on.
Where's the line? Where is the line where players are where who is the first person that's not elite? As in, this person can go deep into a tournament. They're a very good player, but they're just going to get beaten by one of the good guys. And this is the same conversation we were having with with like Ed Kay and stuff, isn't it?
Does.
He kind of says, why do I want to turn to the British Open and have a good game in the first round and get chopped? Well, that's because those people are not at that level of the top guys.
Well, Daz is not a world class player.
Okay.
But I mean, where's elite? Give me a name. I'd just say someone off like if you're not category 1, really.
So think of it this way exactly. If you look at a tournament draw, you look at a name and you go, right, can they win a tournament? Like on their day, can they win a tournament?
There's so many no's.
And say, as soon as you get a no, then they can't be classed in the same bracket, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So there we go. Anyway, I'm certainly don't want to pick at people. But
no.
It's just interesting and the beauty about this is all we've done is spout opinion.
It is, yeah, it's very opinion based, which is why it's hard.
Somebody could turn around to me and go, Ben, you're not world class. What are you talking about? You've never won anything. And I'd be like, fine.
Fiction, but anyway.
Like that's your opinion. I can't. There's no proof of elite and world class or anything, is there? So
no, but yeah, it's all opinion. Tell us what you think.
Have you watched the Last Dance, by the way?
I've watched it all, bro. Yeah.
It's absolutely brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I like it.
And do you know what makes me laugh is like some of the things about his motivation there. Is he's just like, oh yeah, they basically compared me to this guy, and I was just like, no, I'm going to go out there and show you I'm so much better than them. And that's what you could easily argue with this. I mean, the opinion thing. Somebody could turn around and go, oh Ben, I think so and so's as good as you, and I'll be like, all right, well let's wait until we play a match in a tournament and find out, shall we?
I agree. That's the one way of testing. It's like an exam, isn't it? It's the one way of actually quantifying your ability. It's a match.
Test the theory. Anyway,
The Last Dance was good.
Yeah.
That was good.
That was a very good documentary. I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, it's a good debate as well. I like that. Let us know what you think about who's world class. Drop us a comment, whatever, tweet.
Well, and also, can you tell us, please, what the tier is below elite?
Yeah, give us a name. We need a name.
we need something because I can't think of anything that doesn't sound like a big jump down and is therefore potentially insulting.
Oh mate, I'll just say it.
You go from elite to very good. You're like, well, hang on a minute.
Decent, yeah, they're decent. Good.
Decent.
The good lads. The social players. Right, okay. We're going to move on from this. We're going to move on to the next one of the court series.
The tour.
Can you do me a favour and actually, on the picture for this episode, maybe put a picture of Michael Jordan on a real tennis court or something like that? That'd be funny.
Well, yeah, but I don't know how to do it. Technically, I can't do all that. That's technology.
Leave it with me, Ben. Anyway, we're going to talk about Holyport today, which is in Berkshire, Maidenhead, small town.
Town? Oh, Maidenhead.
We were Maidenhead's a town, but Holyport's like a sort of thing, village.
A thing, yeah.
But yeah, so that Holyport, yeah, it's sort of weird, isn't it, when you're driving? It's like a sort of farmer lane. You're sort of going along a country lane, and then, oh my god, it's a real tennis court.
Do you know, it's one of those places, Holyport, in terms of location, the location of it is absolutely brilliant. It's so easy to get to. It's right by the motorway and stuff, and yet you'd never, ever know it was there unless you went there.
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't know.
You would never stumble across Holyport, would you?
Oh no way.
Unless you're a pikey nicking lead, in which case they stumble across it quite a lot.
Oh, they stumble across it all the time.
Yeah.
Shame
Well,
that.
here's a test for you, Shanks, because it's
Go
on the club logo. What year was it built?
1873. I don't know.
1889.
Really? Oh yeah, I knew that as well. That's bad. I should know that.
So Holyport character. What's it like? Also, actually, it's gone through quite a lot of ownership changes in the last
Yeah,
as a business and as a club, it's kind of chopped and changed a bit over the last kind of 10 years, I guess. But it's found some stability now, which is good.
yeah.
Is it a real tennis court or a sticky court? I don't really know these days.
Look, I don't really know. Like it's and I hear they do a lot of sticky.
Right.
But yeah, it's a bit of a grey area, isn't it? Apparently, that's what the weekends are for. Sticky. What is sticky? Like with a tennis ball or something?
I think it's a compressed tennis ball and lawners rackets.
Really? And you can still hit the grill?
Yeah, because I actually had you just play Rena's rules, I think, because we had
Really?
somebody, a Holyport member came up for a birthday up to Leamington. Like one of his family members lived quite locally, so he booked out the court for a few hours, for like 3 hours or something, and he turned up with a bunch of lawn tennis rackets, and I was like,
We
what
do,
the
mate.
heck? And he's like, oh, we're here to play sticky. I was like, oh right, okay.
We're
So
not.
they just played lawners on the court here for 3 hours, or whatever.
Fair play to them.
Paying the money, I'm not worried.
Oh yeah, exactly. But no, what else? It's quite a bouncy court, isn't it?
So it's very bouncy. They use the American ball felt, which is lighter. So the balls there are light, so they kind of fly around. So it's, when I say it's difficult to control the ball, that's not fair. It's just the balls are a lot more like responsive and reactive off the racket, so it takes a little bit of time to like adjust.
Okay.
So what's going on there? And good picture. I need that on a picture of Holyport though, not us.
Okay, that's fine. We can sort it out.
Yeah, so it's that kind of accentuates the like bounciness of the court quite a bit, I think. So I would say it's. So when I think of Holyport, I think to myself, you always have like a few characteristics where you should. This goes back to the game plans thing.
Yeah.
You should always have a few characteristics of the court in your head, so you know what to expect when you get out there.
It's just like dead bouncy, isn't it?
I always think to myself, the floor is the ball. It's very kind of, the ball stays very low off the floor, like it's quite a dead floor.
Yeah, I think you're right.
The floor, and you can get some absolute shockers off some of the cracks there, but it's just the nature of the kind of slab nature of the court. Like you can get that at loads of places.
Yeah.
Nowhere is like a stranger to that. The walls are absolutely fantastic, nice and slick, smooth as you like. Lovely. The penthouse obviously has the little ski jump, which
it does. It gets mentioned a lot. The ski jump.
Because personally, the way I look at something like that is you're taking a very, very difficult, and obviously they haven't deliberately put a ski jump in there, right?
Yeah.
But you're taking a very difficult sport, and then it makes people.
Ben, are you still here?
Pause it.
We're going again. Sorry, people who are listening. We just had a bit of a technical difficulty. I think my internet went down. But yeah, I just paused it. I mean, I don't know what you said about Holyport.
Well, I don't know where we were, but I was just saying like with the ski jump on the penthouse, obviously makes it very difficult to like hit volley returns and serve, and you can end up, unfortunately, having situations where like you can lose that aspect of the game at a very high level because it's just quite a risky shot to take on, and you can get caught out by like external factors like the ball hitting a lip or something, which is a shame.
Yeah, I know what you mean now.
Because you want people to go out there and go out there and like hammer and tongs and stuff. But so yeah, the penthouse isn't my favourite thing in the world, but the walls are absolutely fantastic. The floor is like the ball is very low and slow, but it's quite slow. It's another kind of slow, bouncy
Yeah,
court that you've got lots of time on.
look, you can get a lot back at Holyport.
Yeah, lots.
You can get a lot back at
Great,
Holyport.
great training court because you can just run around there all day.
Yeah, I remember we did National League there. Or did we play 1 or 2 matches there? Maybe two.
Yeah,
Two
we
matches.
played.
2 matches.
We played. Yeah, we
In
played one with
2017.
Claire, and then we played them again in the final, didn't we?
Yeah. That is, yeah, it's decent to be honest. Like, I just think you can get a lot back. It's quite bouncy, quite fair.
Again, in terms of like,
The Tamba's a bit weird, isn't it?
I don't think so.
It's quite square. I think I seem to remember.
It's quite square. I think in terms of, again, like if you're looking at like a National League final or something where you want to try and play it on a neutral venue, somewhere like Holyport's great for it because all 4 players, if they don't play there, can just turn up and get on with it. You know, because it's
I agree.
It's quite an easy court to play. When I say easy, it's slow and it's bouncy and it's easy to figure out.
So
figure out pretty quick.
I mean, there's been some good pros at Holyport. I think was Chris Ronaldson pro at Holyport?
No.
Oh, good one, Robert. Nick Wood was. I know that.
Nick Wood was there. Paul Tabley was there.
Bagona.
Bagona was there. Yeah, they've had some. I think Bagona was there with Tabley.
That's loose. That's loose.
Must have been loose.
Yeah. Well, I think probably John Lumley's the best player to come out of Holyport.
Yeah, Holyport Junior, obviously.
Yeah, genuine.
Any current potential superstars with FIFA cards?
George Fowler. That's an in joke. No, I don't know at the moment, but it seems to still right. It's still there.
It's a good little setup there with the club room and everything like that. They used to have a snooker table, and I think the club room is built on top of like an old swimming pool or something.
They've got some good TVs knocking around there actually, so you can always see the score.
Do you know what? It's one of those places because it is a bit tucked away and stuff, and they've got like a good bar area, good club, like nice big open gardens and all that kind of stuff, barbecue area at the back. And obviously because of the nature of the countryside, people live in like surrounding villages and stuff like that. But if you had a core of like 50 people that lived in Holyport, what a place to go and get boozed up that would be.
Yeah, it'd be funny. It'd be good.
What a venue that would be for that.
Just be like the ultimate lock-in.
Barbecue, big garden area, reelers on tap. Superb location for it. I imagine their members like travel to get there.
Yeah, it'd be a good place to have like a lock-in. Like you're obviously a bit hidden away. So yeah, you could get up to all sorts in theory.
Well, imagine again if you just had like a club tournament weekend and everyone just went like, we're all getting a taxi in. That would be what a place to be. That would be in the summer. That'd be superb.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Right, well, we can probably make a decision. There's not a great deal to say about Holyport. I mean, it hosted the Pro Singles in what, like 2015 or something. It's been a bit off the radar lately. I can't really think of anything that's happened there. Maybe it will next year.
Obviously, National League win a few years ago with Rob and Claire.
Yeah, that's true.
Beat us in the final.
They did.
Yeah, well, we're not, with the way they play and stuff, aren't they? Doesn't take much. Like it's difficult to. It's obviously difficult to return on, but it's quite bouncy. So it's difficult to serve on. Doesn't really like take a railroad that easily or anything.
Yeah, I don't know what you'd serve there. You'd serve like a drag or something.
I can't really remember.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember quite a little funny story about Holyport. They did the Browning Cup there years ago.
Nice.
And I was practicing, and Craig Greenhouse was still working in Manchester. That's how long ago it was.
Wow.
So he said, like, I'm going to come down. I was like, I'm going to come down the day before. I'm going to take it seriously. I'm not going to just drive down and play my match. And I was like, well, should we get a practice court then? He's like, yeah, go on then. First time I've ever known this guy to turn up a day early and have a hit.
Right.
So we have a practice. We're doing a few cross courts, and we're like doing a few, like, should we do some 11s? And he was like, yeah, okay, like you serve. So I go down to the service end. And I said, he's like, what do you serve here? And I'm like, mate, look at the ski jump. There's only one serve to serve here if you can get it right. And it's this. And I stepped up and served a drag straight into the winning gallery. And it's literally one of 3 I've ever done in my life. 2 have been in practice with no one watching. And it was literally one of those moments where you're just like, yes, This is brilliant.
Oh, wow.
So I was just like, yeah, you just do that every time, mate.
Yeah.
That's like one of the best things I've ever done on a real tennis court.
24 times, mate, you win the set. Simple.
Yeah, exactly. They don't even get to hit the ball. It's brilliant.
Yeah, quick game.
Anyway,
It's a good game.
that was a funny one.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a good anecdote. I like that. Brings out all kinds of stories. This podcast. So, perhaps we can, so you don't miss your slot, like when you're throwing this stuff away.
Thanks.
We can perhaps rank Holyport in terms of courts. Like, would you play there for a World Championship? Would you be disappointed? I don't know. For me, it's like on the border of like the top third and the middle. I'd say it's like 8th or 9th or something. It wouldn't be a bad place to play.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's all personal, like preference, isn't it? But like personally, just because of personally for me, in terms of like, would you play a World Championship match there?
Yeah.
It would be a bottom third conversation for me, and that is purely because I don't have a very good record there.
Ooh, fair. Yeah,
absolutely
well, that's
nothing to get. Like it's anything that I put down in that bottom like third is not. I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying again the test is always, the measure is always, would you host a World Championship match there? I.e., would you back yourself to win matches against the best players in the world there? And I wouldn't because I haven't. So
against elite players though. Yeah, I'd take them out.
yeah, for tier 2 players, bring them on.
Yeah, and I'll when you're driving to the tip, maybe you can think about the name for that group, the bottom group, whatever it is.
It's going to irk me because I'm sure there's a word there which is perfect for it.
It's not like development group. It's just not.
No, because it's not, because they're established players that are like very, very good. They're just not.
The Silvers.
They're just not quite elite. Do you know what I mean? They're still exceptional.
No. Exceptional is good. We'll have a think. We'll have a think.
Well, yeah, but someone off 3 is good. They're just maybe not elite.
I agree. In terms of how many people are off 3, there are not many. Percentage-wise.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. If you relate it to anyway, go back.
We could talk forever about it, but
I like the fact that also there's another thing with the Category 1 system. You're better than 5, so there you go. That's an instant measure.
Well, yeah, that's what I think. I think that's like an easy way of doing it.
If you are 5 or better, you are not allowed to put results into the system. You can only put competitive matches in. So therefore, the ranking system says that if you're better than 5, you can only the only data that matters is official data. So there you go. There's a pretty quick measure there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's what I'd go for quickly. But I mean, this debate can rage forever, and we'll see who eventually gets allowed to play. I think everyone will just get to play at once with COVID.
Just open up with a game of quadruples.
Mate, I just want to hit some like return to serve into the main wall. That's all I want to do. I miss it so much. And then I want to just get to the receiving end and just run around and never miss a ball underneath the winning gallery and shit.
The first couple of hits we have could be quite infuriating, but hilarious at the same time.
Oh yeah, Jesus! This racket's a bit heavy. be like learning the grip again or something. But no. I've got more tennis this afternoon. You know, maybe that'll be my new. Maybe this is my new thing.
I've got some. I'm doing some interval runs this afternoon. It's going to be disgusting.
Is it? It's a hot day as well. It's so hot. My hay fever, as you can probably tell, I'm sniffing loads. Like my hay fever's really bad.
Oh, Sally's having a nightmare. The last 2 days have been like probably the 2 of the worst things I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, trust me.
Poor girl.
Yeah, mate. Same with me. Like I've been really bad the last 2 days. It's so weird. Spooky.
Anyway, should we let these people get on with their days and stop listening to us talk garbage?
Well, you need to get to the tip. I'm really sorry, but yeah, we will stop right now.